my predictions for the American League East and how the top five, or I should say this, uh, my predictions for the American League East and how it will finish in 2023. So, 5 teams in the division. My pick for 5th place in the American League East to start off all this stuff. And by the way, we're going to be going from 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Uh that's how we're going to reveal these teams, because ultimately, well, I guess once you reveal 2nd, then you know that there's only one team left to be in that 1st place slot, but we're still going to go 5-1. So, American League East 5-1, starting at number 5. In last place in the American League East, I have the Boston Red Sox. I know. I understand. I get it. Okay. I understand. It's a bit of a bold prediction there because it is the Red Sox. Because it's the historic Red Sox. It's the Red Sox of the 20s. It's the Red Sox of the early 2000s and even the late 2000s, right? 3 or 4 World Series since 2000. 4 World Series, I believe. Yeah, it's just 3 World Series, 07, 13, and 18. Yes, they're a storied franchise. They also lost Xander Bogaerts. They also lost, they're counting on a guy like Chris Sale to lead that rotation. They lose Nathan Eovaldi. You know, they don't have the production. They don't quite have the production that they should. They're not going to be the Red Sox of old. They're not going to be the Red Sox that show up every single year and dominate, okay? They did pick up a couple decent names, right? You got Justin Turner. You got Masataka Yoshida from Japan, Adam Duvall. These are guys that, yeah, they're names. Yeah, they're big leaguers, but they're not going to be making this gigantic swing or impact on the Red Sox as an entire team. Right? These are guys that are contributing pieces in the middle parts of their career. I know Yoshida's a little bit younger, but you don't know what you're going to get out of him, right? Justin Turner, back end of his career. Adam Duvall, back end of his career. Corey Kluber, a pitcher they pick up, back end of his career. These are guys that are just not really who they used to be. Kenley Jansen in the bullpen, back end of his career. So I got the Red Sox finishing 5th in this division. And, ultimately, it sucks to hear if you're a Red Sox fan. But at the end of the day, we can't really do much about it, guys, because there's 4 teams in that division that are better than you. In 4th place in the American League East, I've got the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Or the Rays, whatever you want to call them. I still call them the Devil Rays because I think it's way cooler than the Devil. I still call them the Devil Rays because the Devil Rays is cooler than just the Rays, okay? This is a roster that's a little bit more interesting, has a little bit more potential, at least in my opinion, if everybody just stays on the dang field for these guys, okay? Tyler Glasnow, need you to pitch for him this year, brother. Shane Baz, need you to pitch this year for him, brother. Wander Franco, need you to stay on the field this year, brother. Second baseman Brandon Lau, need you to stay on the field for these guys this year, man. If all those guys can stay on the field, the Rays will be productive. And I should say it like this, okay? As you guys can probably see if you're watching on YouTube or anywhere else, and if you're listening on the podcast, the record I have for the Red Sox is 74-88. The record I have for the Rays, who I have finishing 4th, is 82-80. So they're an above 500 team, but that doesn't translate to a postseason appearance. I don't think the Rays are going to be horrendously bad. I don't think they're going to be the pitfall of the American League East. And I don't think they're going to be rolling over every time they play some of the tougher opponents in baseball, let alone in the American League East. That being said, I have them at 82-80. I have them finishing 4th. And I don't think this team's going to get into the postseason. But, there's some young talent on here, some young prospects. I just don't understand, I don't think this season in 2023, and especially the way that baseball is trending, there's no way the Rays can continue to maintain the pace or at least the strategy of not paying anybody anything and still winning games. It's just not realistic. It's not possible, especially with how much money is being tossed around in the game today. So I have the Rays finishing fourth at 82 and 80. In third place in the American League East, I've got the Baltimore Orioles. That's right, the Baltimore Orioles. I've got them at 88 and 74 for the 2023 MLB season. How? How could you have the Baltimore Orioles in third place in the American League East? The Baltimore Orioles, those guys stink. They've always stunk. Actually, let me fill you in on something a little bit here. Okay, let me give you a little bit of knowledge on the Baltimore Orioles. John Means, potential Cy Young candidate at the top of the rotation. He's back. They got guys in the bullpen. One guy in particular by the name of Felix Bautista. That guy has the potential at 6'8", 285 pounds, throws bowling balls. I had the potential for Felix Bautista to win reliever of the year in the American League. Adley Rutschman's going to be catching for those guys. Ever heard of him? Top prospect. Just was the number one guy in baseball. Anthony Santander. Okay, this guy, if you didn't watch the World Baseball Classic, first of all, I feel bad for you. Second of all, Anthony Santander is due for a monster season. That guy popped 33 homers last year for the Orioles in 2022, and just nobody's talking about it. It's talking about Anthony Santander. Ramon Arias for those guys was incredibly talented for them last year. Gunnar Henderson. Oh, yeah, that's right. Also the number one prospect. He's going to be in the infield for the Orioles this year. That's two number one prospects in the infield for the Orioles this year. I mentioned Santander in the outfield. Cedric Mullins. Oh, that's right. He's been an all-star in the last 3 years. Another multitude. They got Austin Hayes, extremely productive outfielder for them. Jorge Mateo, shortstop prospect. He's not really a prospect. He's a younger guy. He's not really going to have anyone to play. I think he gets traded, and I think the Orioles pick up a big-time arm because they're going to be competitive this year. Orioles are going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with in the coming years, and this year is the start of that. Now, having them at 88 and 74, that doesn't put them in the playoffs. But what it does do is it propels them into the winning window that they're hoping to get into here in the years to come. So I have the Orioles in third place in the American League East at 88 and 74. Okay? In second place in the American League East, I've got the Toronto Blue Jays. Okay? This team's stacked. I'll be honest with you. This team in Toronto has the lineup to contend and compete with anybody. This team on the mound in the rotation has 5 or 6 dudes that could compete with anybody. Manoah, all-star. Gosman, all-star. Chris Bassett, all-star. These are, when I say all-star, by the way, this is in the last 2 years, 2022 and 2021, which I think is relevant because it shows that at least in the last couple of years, these guys were contributing and competitive at a super high level. Manoah, all-star. Gosman, all-star. Bassett, all-star. Jose Barrios is in their rotation, I think, as of now, but he might be, I think, probably their 6th choice when they have a guy like Hyunjin Ryu, Yusei Kikuchi. A ton of arms that they can use in the rotation in Toronto. Their bullpen has a bunch of really good guys. Zach Pop, Adam Simber. They just signed Chad Green from the Yankees. And Jordan Romano's an all-star. Guy throws 150 miles an hour. Alejandro Kirk, all-star catcher. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., MVP, all-star first baseman. They have Whit Merrifield or Santiago Espinal. Both guys, all-stars. Third base, Matt Chapman, all-star, platinum glove caliber third baseman for the Toronto Blue Jays. Oh, and by the way, the guy hits 30 pumps a year and nobody talks about it. Shortstop options, Bo Bichette or Santiago Espinal. They make a trade with the Arizona Diamondbacks in the offseason. They send out Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who they just simply did not need. And they got Dalton Varsho, the Swiss Army knife. That guy can play any position in the outfield and catcher. Kevin Kiermaier is going to play center field most likely. George Springer is probably going to play a corner outfield position. And then, just the icing on the cake, they pick up Brandon Belt as a potential DH option. And I think this team is just super, super, super deep. I didn't even mention guys like Kevin Biggio. I didn't even mention guys like Danny Jansen at catcher. They just have a lot of options. A lot of guys where if it's bases loaded, tie game, bottom of the ninth, and they pinch hit this guy, that guy, one of those options that I read off, at no point in any of those names that I read off was I like, oh, yeah, we're screwed. Like, yeah, that guy's not going to get a hit. Like, all the guys I listed off as offensive possibilities for them at the various positions, all of them can smack the ball around the yard. And then at the top of the lineup for those guys are all-star MVP caliber hitters. So I like the Blue Jays a lot. I think they're going to be a really competitive team. And just like last year, I think they get into the wild card round. And I think they should comfortably at a 91-71 clip. I think that little matchup or that little battle between Baltimore and Toronto is going to be nice and fun to watch towards the end of the year. But I think ultimately Toronto just has a little bit more talent and experience at the end of the year. And they take the second position in the American League East. And last but not least, in the American League East, first place is the New York Yankees. I got the Yankees coming in at 96-66. The Yankees are loaded, right? They do have some injuries, but I think once everybody gets healthy, I think once the Yankees get all those rotation pieces figured out, Frankie Montas figures out what the hell's going on with him, Carlos Rodon, Luis Severino, you just got to get your guys healthy because then after that, I mean, LeMahieu, Stanton, Judge, Glaber, love me some Anthony Volpe, shortstop option for them, who is the top prospect and he's going to be hitting eight or nine in that lineup. So the Yanks are going to come in first place, I think, in that division, and I think it's going to be pretty comfortable for them. So to recap the American League East, we've got Red Sox in fifth, Rays in fourth, Orioles in third, Blue Jays in second, and the Yankees in first place.